Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Today, we are excited to be back with another episode of our Alumni Virtual Engagement Series. This is a monthly video series where we sit down and we talk with a Manor College alum to hear about their experience as a Manor student and what life has been like since graduating or transferring out. Today, I'm really excited to talk to someone that I've known for a little while, Manor College alumni from the class of 2008. Samantha Angelone. Sam grew up in Philadelphia, PA, and graduated from our early childhood education program, earning her associate in arts degree. Today, Sam is the assistant director of development at CORA Services, a really great nonprofit agency that is community-based, educational-based, and offers professional human services to children, youth, and their families. Welcome, Sam. It is really great to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, thanks so much for talking to us. These video series have become really fun for me to do because I get to talk and meet with alumni, but also it's just giving students who are Manor students or maybe a young graduate an idea of what a Manor degree can do for you. And so I'm excited to hear kind of how your Manor degree was able to be used later in your career path and just hear your story. So to start us off, why did you choose Manor? How did you find Manor College when you were first looking for, colleges to go to?
So I wanted something small. I knew that it had to fit my schedule because I would take my kids to school and then pick them up. So I needed to be able to go to classes while they were in classes and still be able to be a mom. I'm a non-traditional student. I started at Manor right before my 40th birthday. So I would drop the kids off at St. Cecilia's, scoot down the pike, go to class, and be able to be home in time to pick them up. So I was able to still do their homework. We kind of all did homework together, which was nice. My kids learned to appreciate the value of education because I wasn't just saying, do your homework, do your homework. I was right there with them doing my own homework. So it was a great experience.
That's so neat. I love the thought of like everyone's at the kitchen table doing their homework and mom's, right there with you. That's really unique and special in a way. And I feel like that's probably, maybe it led to good bonding for you and your kids just to kind of be in it together.
It is. A lot of my classes were psychology based, and my older son actually took psychology classes, and he had mentioned that they were kind of easy because he remembers me studying and hearing all this stuff. So it worked out. It was really neat. It was nice to have them go through the experience with me. And like I said, they both my boys have learned to appreciate the value of education.
Right. I mean, they saw it firsthand. I mean, that's really cool. And right, St. Cecilia's is right down the street, so I could see how that would be just
it was ideal.
Convenient, ideal. That's awesome. I love that. So talk to us about what was it like being a student? What was it like being a student who's also a full-time mom? And what was kind of your Manor experience like? And you were an early childhood education major, and what was the program like?
So my advisor was Elaine Ratner. And she was amazing. And she worked with me, like I said, on my scheduling. I would go in the mornings. Sometimes I had to take my kids to classes with me. And the professors at Manor were so great. Anne would watch my kids at the front desk for a little bit if I had a test or anything that they couldn't be in the room for. It was just, everyone there was so accommodating, and they made an experience for someone at my age going back to school with young people a little less nerve-wracking. You know what I mean? I wasn't nervous. I was comfortable. It was just, I had a wonderful experience. I hope everyone has the same experience that I did.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think, we think about college, and you think of college and you think of, 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds, but really the landscape of college and higher ed has changed. And I know for us here at Manor, over 30% of our current student population are full-time caregivers. So that means either they're full-time mom, full-time dad, or full-time taking care of a grandparent or someone, they're taking care of someone. So, that doesn't always mean that they're a non-traditional student. They could be an 18-year-old who's a young parent, but a lot of times we're seeing they're in their mid to late 30s, 40s, 50s. I was able to teach a class this past semester, and I had a student in my class who was in her mid 50s, and she works full time down at one of the courthouses downtown in the accounting department, and she's got 3 kids who are like, in their teenage years, and yeah, she's going to school full time, and it's really, I'm always so impressed with how moms can juggle like doing all those things, because it's hard, but I think it shows like at Manor it is possible to do that, and I think I'm really proud that we're able to accommodate those life situations, because not all schools are, but it's something that we kind of pride ourselves on. That's great. So tell me, what was kind of your um first out of Manor experience? You were looking for maybe a job, an education, or what were you kind of hoping to do with your degree, whether that was getting a job or moving on into like another program, because we didn't offer a bachelor's at that time. What was
No.
kind of your next steps?
So my next steps, I took a job down at Archdiocesan High School,
Mhm.
and I took it doing events. So it was something that I really like to do. Working in a high school with boys, it was great to have an early childhood background, because
Mhm.
sometimes you can need that.
Mhm.
But it was great. Like, I just kind of stepped into that role. And I started working there. And from there, I took a development coordinator job at St. Basil's across the street from
Mhm.
Manor, which was
Mhm.
great because I felt like I was coming home again.
Mhm.
I was there for a few years,
Mhm.
and my experience was growing.
Yeah.
I found something. I always thought I wanted to be a teacher, but the more I was doing development and fundraising and marketing, I was like, this is great. Like, it was just something that kind of came natural to me.
Mm.
So I took another, every time I took a job, I got a better title. I was earning more money. I ended up in New Jersey as the director of development and alumni relations over there. And the commute was just too far. It was an hour each way every day. And then
Yeah.
I came back, and now I'm at CORA. And I during that time, I went back to school. I decided to pursue my bachelor's, and I went to Southern New Hampshire.
Mhm.
And by the time I was ending with my degree, it was the middle of COVID. There was no graduation.
Yeah.
Things were kind of a little different. And I ended up putting my cap and gown on the day of would have been my graduation. I cleaned my whole house in my cap and gown. It was kind of funny. My kids were laughing at me. My husband was laughing at me. But I decided at that point, you know what? I have come this far in my life. I'm just going to go for my master's. Like, I'm going for broke here. So I decided to go for my master's in marketing and communications.
Mhm.
And I just graduated this past May at 55.
Woohoo. Wow. Wow. I mean, that's incredible. That is incredible, while working the whole time, while
Working
raising
the
a
whole
family.
time. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. I
Um,
mean,
and I just feel like when you're going to school, you have this idea. And like I said, my idea was, I'm going to be a teacher. I love
right.
kids. This is what I'm going to
Mhm.
do. And I just fell into this role in development. And it was like a light bulb went off, and I was
Mm.
like, I know what I want to be when I grow up.
Mhm.
And here I am today.
So talk to us a little bit about, I mean, obviously you and I can kind of talk shop a little bit because we're kind of both in similar roles, me overseeing marketing and advancement here. But I know why I really love working in advancement and marketing, but why do you love development? What about development kind of gets you sparked up and passionate?
I think when you work for an organization that you believe in, and it's very easy to believe in what CORA does,
Mhm.
when you talk about it, I know when I talk about CORA, I can get lost for hours speaking about the amazing things that they do. We have counselors that work in public schools and private schools, in charter schools. They help with learning disabilities, any other kind of counseling. We do intervention, we do prevention. There's just so many different things that CORA does that it makes my job to fundraise for the organization easy.
Right.
Everybody in the Northeast knows of CORA, and whether you've seen the trailers in the schools, you've had speech therapy, reading help, everybody knows about CORA, and everybody has something nice to say. So it makes my job easier, and sharing the stories, the success stories of people that have gone through CORA, it's all inspiring.
Yeah. That's great. And you're right. It absolutely is. I mean, once you have a mission that you believe in, it's just a matter of finding the finesse around sharing that mission. And I personally think advancement and development is so cool because you get to help the donor do something fun with their money. They get to donate, this is the fun part. They get to set up a scholarship or set up a fund and do something good, and they feel good about what they're doing. You feel good about where it's going, and just facilitate that feeling is really powerful. And it makes you want to do it over again and again and again. So,
and I love hearing the donor stories. I love hearing the donor stories. When I worked at St. Basil's, hearing the way the alum talked about St. Basil's, it was just moving. And I've kept in touch with a lot of the alum from St. Basil's, because you create these bonds, you create these relationships, and they don't end when you leave. They don't end. And I check in on them every once in a while just to make sure everything is going good, and they check in on me and my family, and it's nice. It's nice. I feel like development, you're always making new friends.
Yeah,
that's how I like to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. And I love how, you thought you wanted to be a teacher and you realize, okay, maybe that's not the exact path for me. But do you feel like you're still able to use some of the things that you learned at Manor in your role, even now?
Absolutely. Like I said, part of the class work that I took at Manor were a lot of psychology classes.
Right.
And I use that every day. I can't remember her name, but the one professor had always said that it's not about talking, it's about listening. And working in development and advancement, 99% of your job is listening to what a donor wants, or listening to what the needs of your mission are. And being able to have those skills makes me do my job better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to hear. Something that's kind of happening nationally is that like less students are going to college. There's a big kind of trend right now of students taking a gap year, just going right into the work field. So something at Manor that we're constantly talking about is value, and just what value higher ed brings to a student and a graduate. What would you say? What would you say in terms of the value that Manor, your Manor degree was able to give you? Now looking back, it's been, I don't know how many years since you graduated, about 15 years since you graduated. What kind of value can you see that because you went here, you have?
I think because of the professors that I had, the way Manor is structured, not only was I getting an education, but I was working on myself, and I gained confidence, and my self-esteem grew, and I knew that if I continued, that I can do what I put my mind to, and there's, I would be unstoppable. They were values that just build me up. It built me up and gave me the opportunity to look at myself through somebody else's eyes.
Right.
And I think that's so important. I think that's so important.
It is so important. I think the confidence is huge, you know. I mean, that's a hard thing to find, and not all places are going to give you that. And that's something that once you have that confidence, it's just being able, it sounds like, you know, a new job, a new degree, being able to keep that momentum is really important. And it's a great thing for you, you know, as a mom to have that confidence and self-esteem, and that way your kids can see mom's confident. I should be
Yeah,
confident too, you know, and that's really
yeah.
powerful.
And I have to say, I was always comfortable being
Mhm.
able to speak in the classes at Manor. And I don't know that you can do that everywhere,
Mm,
but you know, I had Frank Farrell for a few
mm,
classes,
yeah.
and the confidence that he gives you that it's okay to say what you feel, and it's okay to believe what you do and not be judged on any of that.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing,
Mhm.
and that's hard to come by.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
sure.
I've been in other schools, and I can tell you that's not always the case.
Mhm.
And that is one thing that makes Manor unique.
Mm. Yeah, that's great. Have you come across any other Manor alumni in your, you know, whether it's at a work or just a random connection? I love hearing stories about other people running into other Manor alums out in the world. Have you had any of those experiences before?
I do every once in a while, and I have to tell you, there were two kids that I was in class with
Mhm.
for most of my time at Manor. Now they're both married and they both have a couple kids, but we're
Mhm.
still friends on Facebook and
Fun.
Instagram, and we keep in contact on social media, and we
Mhm.
kind of cheer each other on that way.
Mhm.
Um, but I love being out somewhere and seeing somebody in a Manor hoodie.
Mhm.
Like it just makes me smile going, yeah, I went there.
Right. Me too. That makes me smile too when I see Manor gear, especially out in the wild. I get very
Right.
excited. That's great.
So
That's great. And I love that you get to stay in touch with some of your classmates. Social media is great for that, obviously, you know, to
it's wonderful.
keep tabs on people
Mhm.
without, you know, that pressure of like, oh, I have to text them or call them, you know, you kind of just can see what's going on.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Sam. This has been really fun. So kind
Thank
of
you
as
so much.
a yeah, kind of as a wrap-up question, what advice would you give to a current Manor student, on kind of to motivate them to keep, you know, keep pursuing their degree?
Uh, um, that you got this, you can do this. One bad grade, don't let that discourage you. Work harder, because it is possible. And go to school early. Don't wait till you're 55.
Right, but if you do wait, it's still possible,
It's still
right?
possible.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, thanks so much, Sam. I think your story is really encouraging, to for people to hear, like, you know, just because you majored in something doesn't mean like that is the path you have to take.
No,
And I also, I think just obviously you being, you know, a mom and doing things a bit later in life shows that like it's still possible, it's still okay, it's not too late. And look, I mean, you went from 1 degree to 2 degrees to now 3 degrees.
to 3
So
degrees, and I'm
really,
done. I
oh,
am
okay.
done. We are not
Okay.
going back.
Now I understand that completely. Well, congratulations on the masters. That's really,
Thank
where
you.
was that from? Where'd you go for that?
I went through Southern New
Southern New
Hampshire.
Hampshire. Nice. Nice.
So
That's wonderful. Well, thanks so much. Thank you for
thank
everyone tuning
you.
in today. And we'll see you next time for another episode.